Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to work on building our own rocket today. Rockets been around for thousands of years. Wasn't until the late 1930s, early 40s when they started really developing rockets. But you can get into that if you want to go and research it. For us today, there are only a few things that we need to worry about. And one of them is, these are the materials that you're going to need. I'm going to start over here. These are 2-liter bottles. Doesn't matter what color they are. Doesn't matter what kind. Any kind work. You also need a piece of cardboard. This is a pretty flimsy piece of cardboard, easy for me to cut. I'm going to show you how to make it and strengthen it. Don't forget to hang on to the caps. You're going to need one at least. You'll need some string and some plastic. I'm using plastic bags today for your recovery device or parachute or however you decide you want to do it. And last but not least, you're going to need duct tape. Duct tape is a very useful tool for us today. So let's get into building our rocket, shall we? We'll move that cardboard off to the side along with the other stuff. We'll talk only about this right now. This is going to be your fuel cell. Your fuel cell is going to hold water, and it's also going to be pressurized. So the number one thing you want to make sure you do is not to cut this. This one does not get cut. Nothing happens to this. You might tape stuff onto it, but you are not going to cut it. Repeat, you are not going to cut it. Leave it alone, because if you cut it, your rocket will not launch. The other thing you're going to need is the other one. The other one we're going to cut so that we can put it on top. This is where our payload is going to go. Your payload in this instance is going to be an egg and probably your recovery device. How tall is it? That doesn't matter. You can cut it this short if you want. You can cut it this long if you want. Just remember that you're going to have to put inside here your recovery or your whatever you're launching, in this case an egg, and you're also going to have to put in your recovery device too. So this will house all of that. So let's get started with it. I'm going to take just me because it just happens that I want to make sure I make it as big as possible. I'm going to cut it down at the bottom to try and make sure that I get it all as much as possible. Please have your parents help you with the cutting. Do not do this by yourself. This is kind of dangerous. If you cut yourself, you might hurt yourself. Your parents can do this for you. So I'm going to cut the bottom off of it. Notice I'm not really overly concerned with how straight it is. I can straighten it up here in a minute. I'm going to try and make it as straight as possible, but I'm going to take this piece and lay it off to the side. Don't need that. So now I have what I'm going to hold my egg, in this case, my payload. You're going to put an egg in, and my recovery device. Now, this and this go together to make your rocket. You don't tape these together because you're wanting this to come off like this so that your parachute, your recovery device, can come out. Oh, water, hang on a second. I can get rid of some of this water because I want this cardboard wet. Yeah, that'll work. All right. So now that we have our payload section and we have our rocket, it's time to start putting things together. Let me go get a paper towel and I'm going to wipe this up real quick. I'll do better than that. I will get a towel, wipe up any water because you don't want water on this when you're starting to duct tape. Have water and duct tape, they don't go together. It makes it to where things don't stick. All right. Next thing we're going to need for our rocket is fins. The reason we need fins on our rocket, things that fly in our atmosphere are controlled by the air that's around them. If you were in outer space, you wouldn't have any of the air, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. But here we do. And we use fins to help us control how things go up. How are you going to take and cut those fins? Well, there's many, many ways. You can cut those fins as squares. You can cut them as funny looking shapes. You can cut them any way that you see fit. You can cut them small. You can cut them large. It does not matter. It's up to you. Well, it does matter, but I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just showing you what to do. So, I could call these two things fins. I could put those on my rocket. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. If you want to take and cut them to where they are diagonal or fin shaped, like you might see on a fish, here's how I do that. take this piece of cardboard, I'm going to cut it in half. So now I have two rectangles. I'm going to take those two rectangles, make sure that they're the same size, and I'm going to cut on the diagonal line. Diagonal. That's not up and down and back and forth, it's kind of sideways. So I'm going to cut diagonally all the way up. When I do that, I end up with 4 pieces or 4 fins that look like this. See that? Now, you can use 2, 4, 1, 5, 10, a gazillion. It does not matter. It's up to you. You are the rocket designer. You're the one that's making this. So how you decide that you want to make this rocket, that is totally up to you. Use your imagination. Who knows? You might come up with a fantastic idea that NASA will use later on when we launch and go to Mars in about 20 years. So now I have my fins. I have my fuel cell. I have my payload capsule. It's time to start putting things together. Oopsie, sorry about that. All right, the one thing you have to worry about when you're putting this together is this will be launched with water. This is cardboard. Water and cardboard do not mix. Water on cardboard makes it all flimsy and small, and it doesn't work. It doesn't stay still. So here's how we're going to do this, and I'm going to help you figure this out. You're going to use this duct tape. And duct tape is great because it sticks to stuff and it's water repellent. That is, it will make sure that things don't have water on them. And what you're going to do with this fin, that's what we call these things, by the way, fins, is you're going to put duct tape on it. There's a piece of duct tape on this one. Oh man, there you go. I'm going to put a piece of duct tape down here at the bottom. There we go. So I have a piece of duct tape. Oops. I have a piece of duct tape that is on my fin. I'm going to take it now and I'm going to fold it over because I want to make sure I get as much of this covered as possible with this piece of duct tape. And if you'll notice, once I'm done, I've got both sides of my fin covered. Use my pair of handy dandy scissors here, cut off any extra duct tape that I have. I love duct tape. Duct tape is great. Fold that one down, fold this over, and voila. Now I have my fin. Let me move up here so you can see this fin nice and close. There's my fin. Notice that I made some mistakes. It's not smooth, it's not flat, but you can make sure that this thing is flat and smooth. But you notice that every piece, even along the edges, is covered with duct tape. So if water gets on this thing, it will not get all mushy on it. Let me do another fin, because I'm only going to put 2 fins on because, well, time does not permit me to put a whole bunch on. There's 1 piece of duct tape. There's 2 pieces of duct tape. Pick it up. Fold. Let me fold this one. I like to fold this first. Fold that one. Fold that one. And I'm going to come back here and I'm going to fold this one up. There you go. Take all this extra that I have on it. Smooth it down if I want. There. I want to make sure that it gets covered. That's a very, very important part of it. There you go. One extra piece right there. Got that. Now I have myself 2 fins. Here is your fuel cell. When you put your fuel cell onto the rocket launcher, it's going to go on like this. This is where the exhaust is going to come out. Newton's law says the exhaust comes out here, pushes this thing up here. So this is the way it goes. Now, that means that the fin, will have to go on it like this, along the side. Make sure that you notice which way the rocket is. Make sure you double check it before you put it on because it's going to bear to take off if you don't. Now, more duct tape. You know I love this stuff. I'm going to put a piece of duct tape along the edge of my fin. Get rid of this piece of duct tape. There you go. sorry, my scissors stink today. These guys are not wanting to play today. Make sure I'm cutting it nice and straight. This piece of duct tape off my finger. There you go. Now I have one piece of duct tape on here. So I'm going to take my fin. Once I decided where I'm going to put it, I'm going to take my fin and put it down, and I'm going to smooth that piece of duct tape onto the fuel cell or my plastic 2-liter bottle. Now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to cut myself another piece of duct tape. This one you have to make sure that it's exactly the right length. Oh man. There you go. Smooth it out. Fold this thing over. I'm not sticking it to the bottle yet. I'm just sticking it to the plastic or to the fin. There you go. Now I'm going to pull the fin up so that it is as straight as I want it. And I am going to put this piece of duct tape down, right like that. There it is. Now my fin is connected to the fuel cell or the rocket, and it's straight and it's even and it doesn't move around and it won't get wet. That's a very important thing. So I'm going to do this again for you to show you one more time. Here is my fin. I'm going to get a piece of duct tape. Let me fix this duct tape real quick. Okay. I'm going to put it along the edge. There it is. Here's my rocket. I'm going to decide where I want to put it on my rocket. I want mine directly on the other side, so I'm going to take this and fold it over like this. There you go. And there you go. And I'm going to lay it down flat. Let's smooth it out. There you go. Okay. Cut this. Give me a second. Sorry. Perfections, I suppose. Not really. All right. Find the end of my duct tape, which I lost. There it is. Because for some reason the scissors decided they wanted to cut perfect that time. This one has to be exactly the same length that it's supposed to be. You don't want any extra. Because when you stick this one down, it's done. All right. Stick the duct tape to the fin, but not the bottle. Stand it up straight the way you want it, and then stick the tape to the bottle. And there you have it. Now I have my fins on. I might put another fin on here. I might put a fin right here and here, but we also have to remember that the payload goes right up here on top. The payload's going to go right on top here. So there is the rocket, there is the payload. Now it's time to move on to the next thing. The next thing is the parachute that goes with it, or recovery device as we call it. Some people use parachutes, many people do. Some use streamers, I've seen that used, but you could use just a plastic bag like this. As long as it pops open and gets air in it, that's what you want, that's the main thing. So now I'm going to take and cut myself a couple pieces of string that are the right length for me. How long is that? I don't know. That's me. You can make them any length you want. Everybody has their own opinion on how things are done. Here's my piece of string. My piece of string has two ends. I'm going to take one end and tie it to this past the bag, grocery bag. Good. I'm going to take the other one and tie it to the other side. Good. And now, if it all works out correctly, when I run around the room with this, it should pop open. Yay! It pops open! Yay! Yay! It's popping open! Yay! works fine. Now, the next step, putting all of this stuff together. Here's my rocket, here's my payload. Payload goes on top of the rocket. When it comes time, the payload's going to pop off, and inside here is going to be the stuff that you want. That is your parachute and your payload. Now, how does this all go together? As I said, you don't put this thing on, you don't tape it on so that it's held in there. I suppose you could. You could tape this thing on, but then there's no recovery device, and you're going to have a hard time with this rocket when it comes down like a rocket and hits the ground, and everything inside goes, and it's not going to be any good. So here's what I suggest you do. Taking the very end of this, I'm going to cut it open. And the reason I'm cutting this on here is so that it's not snug on this. It's kind of loose. It's pretty snug, but it's not really snug, because I want it to pop open and come out. Now, the next thing is to put all this stuff together. First things first, I don't want my recovery or my payload and my rocket to come apart. So I'm going to cut myself a piece of string, and I'm going to tape my piece of string to both sides. Nice long piece of tape. Good. There it is. Taped. And I'm going to take the other side inside here of my payload. Tricky, tricky, tricky. There you go. So now, when they come together and the rocket comes apart, this falls off, but it still hangs there. It doesn't fall into the ground. Now for the parachute. I'm going to take my parachute and I'm going to tape it to the bottom of my, or the top of my fuel cell. There you go. Tape to the top of my fuel cell. So, when it comes off and this comes out and the parachute comes out, everything is connected together. Boom, 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 just like that. See that? And we are ready to go. Take this, put my parachute, get all the air out of it. There you go. Put it like this. Put it inside. Stuff all the strings in. Don't make a mess. And my rocket is finished. Let me move it up a little bit. Right there. There you go. Remember I told you I want to keep one of these lids, so I'm going to put one up here on the top. And then the other one will go down here when you put the water on. So here's what happens. Rocket goes up. Whoo! It turns over, and when it turns over, the payload comes off. It falls faster than this. The parachute, hopefully, will come out, and the parachute will go whoop, and catch it. Is it going to work? I don't know. You know what? That's half the fun of this. I'm going to take and tie this string off a little bit more, because I noticed that my parachute, when this thing came off, didn't come out as much as I wanted it to. So I'm going to tie it off. Now, see, I didn't know that until I sat here and started playing with it. There it is. Tie that off. Let's see what happens. There you go. Put that in there. Put that up here. Put that there, there, and there. Put this on. All right, let's try. Up it goes. It turns over. The payload comes out, falls, and the parachute comes out. Yeah, I think the parachute's going to come out this time. That looks good. Now, let me tell you another little trick that I've learned that really helps these rockets and how high they go. I'm going to tie off a little bit more, just because I'm me. I'll be right back. Don't move. Well, I'm unfortunately, ladies and gents, I can't find it. I'll have to look for it later. But if you take a tennis ball and you put a tennis ball on top of the rocket here and use duct tape to hold it on, that tennis ball is going to give it more weight, and the more weight that it has, then it will cause it to fall off better. So you might want to look into that too. If you really want some ideas on this, don't hesitate to go online and look up water rockets designs on the internet, because I know there are tons of them out there. Have fun with your rocket. Make it yours. Okay? Until then, good luck, and I'll see you.